Hello guys, in this video we are going to talk about HTTP. Many of you must have known about HTTP. It's a quite complex process, but in this video I will try to explain it as simple as possible or as I can. So before starting to talk or discuss anything about HTTP, I would like to tell something about internet, which is our food we eat in our regular life. Internet is also required in our regular life, or else we cannot live without internet. Or we can say internet is our backbone of our resources. So if I talk about internet, it has a bunch of resources, and these resources are hosted on different platforms, or we can say servers. These resources are correspond to any entity available on the web, which includes HTML files, your style sheet, or your images, or videos, we can say. So, if we want to access any of the content which is available on the web, so what I was saying, if we want to access any content which is available on the web, so do you know what process takes place? We just type the website name and in a second or two the website appears on our screen. But what happens behind our typing, that is not known. So in your browser you type in this area, you type your URL. So it's the browser area. So what happens is that the browser asks the server for the resources you want. You need resources, you type the URL in the browser, browser asks the server for the resources you want. Just like you're sitting in a restaurant and you give your order of the food items to the waiter. The waiter tells that these all food, the waiter tells the chef about the food items you want, and then you are provided with the food items that you had ordered for. So the HTTP works on two processes, or we can say just two words are required to explain about HTTP or internet. These two words are request and responses. So the whole process about what you are searching for, the resources you want, or what you are viewing at depends on these two words. The browser requests the servers for the content you want, and you are provided with the content which you are getting responded. So the whole process depends on these two words, that is the request and the responses. Now let's move our content towards HTTP. HTTP. So let's begin with the full form. What is HTTP and what happens in HTTP? HTTP is basically hyper text transfer, sorry for my handwriting, protocol. So HTTP full form is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So this also works in just two main points. That is, HTTP creates a whole structure. So it works on structure requests and responses over internet. So as we had discussed earlier, that internet works on requests and responses, HTTP also works on structure requests and responses. So further in this video, we will know that why this structure word is inserted. So let me tell you one of the main point of HTTP. HTTP helps you to transfer data from one point to another. So if this is the network and this is for website A and website B, so HTTP helps you to get your data transferred from one point to another over the network. Then you must be thinking that how this transfer happens and what is the process. So let me first tell you about the process. The name of this process is none other than TCP. It's don't take it so serious or it's complex. It's a simple word, TCP. Let me tell you the full form also. Transmission Control Protocol. So TCP helps you for the transfer of resources from point A to point B. Means HTTP transfers, but TCP helps HTTP for the transfer of these resources. And full form of TCP is Transmission Control Protocol. So we were talking about point A and point B, and transfer is done by HTTP. TCP helps in the transfer of resources. TCP, or rather we can say TCP helps HTTP for the transfer of data over the network. So I can also say that TCP manages the channel between the browser and the server. Suppose consider point A as your browser and point B as your server. So browser, you had seen, it sends requests to the server and then you are getting responded by the server. So TCP helps in the transfer of resources, or TCP manages the channel between browser and server. Suppose if I take any of the devices, suppose this is one of the computer device or iPad, anything you want. This is another computer device. Sorry for my drawing, I know it's too bad. So if you want to transfer any kind of information from this monitor A to monitor B, so HTTP is used as a command language which helps you to send any kind of information from one computer device to another computer device. And TCP is also responsible for the management of many types of internet connections. And also let me tell you one of the most important thing you must know about HTTP. HTTP is not only hypertext transfer protocol, it is also known as a command language in the market. please make a note, it is also known as a command language. So this also helps on both sides of the connection in order to communicate. Means while you are transferring from one device to another, TCP helps. And while you are transferring data from one device to another device, it creates a connection. And this connection follows the command order of the HTTP, which helps them to create a communication between both the devices. Clear? So now let me show you one of the relation. So now everyone must be thinking, yeah, we know about internet, it's working. What is HTTP? Full form, how it works, how TCP creates a network. But now let's talk about most of the important thing, that how HTTP and TCP works. It is a slight complex process, but I hope I will make it slightly simpler. So let me take the example, sorry, of www.facebook.com in your browser. If you type www.facebook.com in your browser, you are just clicking enter and your browser is appearing. But you are not aware that how many things are happening behind the screen. So after typing this URL, you are sending a command to open a TCP channel to the server. Let me explain to you in the next page. So remember, this is our URL, www.facebook.com. So after typing the URL in the browser, you are commanding the TCP channel to the server that would respond the URL for the information that you are searching for. Means see how the process work. You are typing the URL in the browser. You are clicking enter. While you are clicking enter, you are commanding the TCP to open the URL, means or the content which you are wanting. But TCP cannot directly enter the open the content. It has to tell the server that this person wants this content. So the server has the information that where this address is or the URL is located. So it opens the URL where your content is provided. So now you have got your content. So if I am talking of URL, then let me be more brief and clear what is URL and all that. Many of you know that URL is only just the website means address. Let me tell you with the full form. URL's full form is Uniform Resource Locator. Uniform Resource Locator. And just like you have a phone number or your address, means if someone wants to reach to you, then he must see either your phone number or your address if he or she wants to reach to you. Just like that, if you want to reach to Facebook, you need to have its address. Means not Facebook office, means if you want to access to Facebook, you need to know the URL which you want to prefer. Let me move ahead with the next step. So you have typed the URL. After clicking enter, you are sending the command to the TCP. TCP is sending it to the server. server is locating the URL, and you are being provided with the content which you want. Clear? So in this situation, your computer is making a request which is called as client. Means while you are giving the command to the TCP, TCP is telling it to the server, server is providing you with the URL. Means after you are clicking enter in your keyword, means you are just commanding as well as you are commanding as well as requesting to open you with the content which you want. So this request is called as client. You must remember, request is client, TCP is transmission control protocol, HTTP is hypertext transfer protocol, and browser and server relationships, and how TCP benefits HTTP. So forget that. Let me move to the next part of it. So while you are clicking enter, you are making a request. Request is nothing but a client, or also known as client. The URL you are requesting is the address. URL is nothing but the address that belongs to none other than the server, which you can also call as partial owner. Means if you want to remember just like that, how does the server work, you can call it as a partial owner, because the server knows, it knows all the address of all the websites. I mean, it's like a government directory or diary, anything which you can call. So once the TCP connection has been established, what does the client do? The client sends a HTTP GET request. Let me repeat if you are confused a bit. Once the TCP connection is done, what does the client do? The client sends a HTTP GET request. Now you must have been confused with the word GET. What is GET? Big confusion in your head. We will talk in the last part of this video what is GET. Now let me continue with what I am going. So TCP connection has been established. Client is the request which you have made. Client sends a HTTP GET request to the server. Client is sending request to HTTP GET request to the server. Why it is sending? What's the purpose of sending it all this? Just to retrieve with the web page you want. Understood? Or I need to do it in a single piece of page. Okay, let me write it small and show it to you. TCP connection is established, simple. So client is sending a HTTP GET request. Don't get confused with this word GET, as I will explain to you in the end of this video. It is this request is further passed on to the server, which will help us to retrieve the web page that it should display. Simple, clear till that? Then next. So now what will happen? Now all this process has taken place. Now the server has got its response. Now the server has its response. Then what happens? Work of TCP is over now because the server has got your request and has also responded. So now TCP connection will close down. Server has got its response. Now TCP connection will close down. Then if you open the website in your browser again, the browser automatically requests something to the server and a new connection is opened. Means again, if you open the browser, same browser with the same URL, new connection is made, and then same process is followed, which I have explained to you just previously. Oh, sorry for my handwriting. So I was telling you in the previous one that what is get, I was telling you that TCP sends request to HTTP GATE, which request is passed on to the server to retrieve the web page that it would display. So now let's talk about GET. What is GET? Huge question. Don't get panic. It's a small thing. So HTTP has many kinds of requests. GET is one among them. So as we know, requests are also known as clients. So you can call get a method in which a client can call. HTTP get is nothing. It is one kind of HTTP. You can say get is a method in which a client can call, and clients are requests. And in most of the cases, get is used and nothing else is used. It also helps your computer access resources on the web, this get thing. This might be something new. Market. So now let's talk about URL browser HTTP part. Let me write a website for you, means URL. Suppose http colon slash slash facebook.com. After you write this URL in your browser will extract this HTTP part. Colon is there, don't forget. Your browser will extract the HTTP part and it will focus on this name, which is the name of the network which you have shown. So it will extract this part and will focus on this part, that is the name of the network. So this is the domain name, as you all know. So it takes the domain name from the whole URL in that is facebook.com and asks the internet domain name server, market, internet domain name server to return the IP address. Let me tell you again. After you are writing this whole URL in the this browser part, so what happens? It extract the HTTP part and they focus on the name of the network that you have put. It takes the domain name from the whole URL, and that is facebook.com, and asks the internet domain name server to return the IP address or the internet protocol address. Clear? Okay, just mark all these things. Or if you want to re-understand this, just uh, go 10 seconds or 20 seconds back to the video and be clear. Now, now the client knows the destination, that is destination's IP address, that is facebook.com. So what we'll do? Client knows that here facebook.com is there, and it also knows the IP address. So it will open a connection to the server at that address, connection server. So client knows the destination's IP address. It will open a connection to the server at that address, that is facebook.com, with the help of HTTP protocol. It's a protocol. So which will get the GET request, same as I told earlier. GET request will go to the server, which contains the IP address of the host and a data payload. Let me tell you some of the facts of the GET request. Suppose if this is written get slash http slash 1.1 and the name of the host is www.facebook.com. This is E, sorry. So just mark these two lines, get slash http slash 1.1 host www.facebook.com. Just mark these two lines. If you are not interested in knowing these, it's okay. You have known the main what is all that. This is just for explanation. So let me tell you about this. Have you noted these two? Or just take a screenshot. Clear frame. So so this identifies the path on the request the path on www.facebook.com. In the above case, you must have seen a slash or many slashes and the protocol HTTP slash 1.1, and you must have seen or been confused that what it must be. क्या है ये HTTP1? क्या है पागल की तरह लिख दिया कुछ भी. Actually, you don't know what happens in total. Means you are typing the name of the URL and just clicking enter, and your web page is being displayed. But in some seconds, you don't know that these all requests are moving on, and they are also doing a revision of that. मीन्स एक बार रिक्वेस्ट सेंड होके उसका रिवीजन भी और एक बार हो जाता है. Means that's quite strange, but it happens in some milliseconds. Okay, forget that. So your focus must have be on HTTP slash 1.1. So let me tell you, as I was talking of the revision, it is the first revision of HTTP. So it's the first revision of HTTP, which is not called as HTTP 1 nowadays. It is actually HTTP slash 1.0. Nowadays it is called this. And every source request requires a separate connection to the server, that is HTTP slash 1.1. This is given 1.1 because it uses the connection more than once. It uses the connection more than once. So, if I would like to give any of the additional content, like if I would like to talk about, I was talking about images or style sheet in the starting of the video. So if I talk about images or style sheets, they are retrieved even after the page has been retrieved. Means if I give you one of the example, that requests using HTTP slash 1.1 has less delay than HTTP slash 1.0. Means let me again explain you about images or style sheet. This is an additional content. If you want, if you have any interest, then you can hear, or else you can stop this video. So once the images or style sheet are retrieved, they are even retrieved after the page has been retrieved. Means if I give you an example, requests using HTTP 1.1 have less delay than HTTP slash 1.0. And in the second line, which I had shown you, www.facebook.com, there may be additional lines as well, as depending on what data your browser chooses to send. Another type is there. Let me show you. Let me clear the frame. HTTP slash 1.1 200 OK. Content type, sorry, is text slash HTML. So this might be slight confusing. This you have known what is this, but now what 200 OK and content type text slash HTML. So the header is followed by the content requested, that is www.facebook.com. So the first line says, or it is just you can say in simple, it's a confirmation to the server. It's a confirmation to the server because OK is written. That understands the protocol that the client wants to communicate with, HTTP 1.1. And this line, content type colon text slash HTML, it just shows the type of content it will be sending to the client. And the last one I want to say, just take a screenshot if you haven't. And the last line says http slash 1.1 404 not found. This everyone must have seen because this means if you have any internet connection or bad gateway, yeah, many of us must have also seen bad gateway. That gateway was I was only talking about. So what does this recognize, or what does it show, or what it makes to understand all this? So if anyone does not know, so it understands the HTTP protocol, but the 404 not found status signifies that some piece of content was either not found or has been removed by the host. Means 401, if you see that 404 not found is written, means either the content is not found or it has been removed by the host. Simple. So now many of you must have been thinking that I'm clearing this. If you want to take a screenshot, you can. That I talked about HTTP, I talked about uh, TCP, I talked about browser, I talked about server, I talked about gate, I talked about methods or request, I talked about their work or relation, I talked about their process, talked about their types and connections. But now, what I missed, everyone must have been thinking would be, let me clear the frame, HTTPS. So HTTPS is just nothing. It is just important to use while you are passing any sensitive or personal information, just like security pins or passwords. So, however, it is up to the businesses maintaining the servers to set it up. So HTTP request can be read by anyone at certain network junctions, and it might not be a good idea to deliver information such as your credit card or password using this protocol. So for that cases, for these sensitive or personal cases, you must use HTTPS. For these purposes only HTTPS is there. Where so what HTTPS does? HTTPS allows you to encrypt data that you send or receive. So this was all about the video of HTTP, simple funda of HTTP, how it works, full form, and other processes associated for it. So I would like to give a big thank you for all those who have seen the full video. So thank you, and do follow me on Instagram. This is my ID. So a very big thank you for watching this video. Do give a thumbs up for these efforts, and do subscribe to the channel and share this video as you can. So thank you.